broadcasting around the world. You're listening to You Made It Political, where the voice of the keyboard warrior is finally heard and the arguments presented are put to the political test. And now, here's your host, Matt Clark.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Friday. Welcome to You Made It Political. My God, what beautiful weather we're having here in upstate New York. A hot spell indeed. So thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm sure you would rather be outside having your happy hour beer and enjoying a million other things, but you're hanging out here with yours truly, and I really appreciate it. So today we're going to do things a little bit differently. Usually I have this whole monologue thing, and then we go into stories on Facebook, whether it be Fox News or Newsmax. But I decided to keep it really chill and really simple here today on Friday. After all, the spring weather is coming, and I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed than usual. I'm also going to be pulling up comments today, which is something I don't really do that often. So, guys, comment away. I'm going to actually be reading them. I'm going to addressing them. Usually I'm looking at other comments from other platforms, and you guys are chatting away, but today we're actually going to pull up your comments. So we start the show today with Facebook jail. First of all, Facebook jail is at an all-time high. I mean, it's getting out of control. And the crazy thing is that people really don't have to do much to be put in Facebook jail today. I mean, it's ridiculous, the stuff that you have to do to be thrown in Facebook prison. I mean, everybody is getting thrown in jail, and it's for simple things like calling somebody a name, or for maybe getting a little bit too logical, maybe telling a little bit too much truth. A little bit too much truth for Mark Zuckerberg, perhaps. And that's what's going on. And we're seeing it more and more today. It's almost since I hate to bring politics into Facebook prison, but it actually is very political. And it's getting worse since Biden took office. Have you guys noticed that? What you're actually allowed to say on social media now has become more and more restricted. And I've seen a lot of my friends go down in the last week or two. I mean, we're talking everybody from popular radio show hosts who have never had a bad thing to say about anybody to little old ladies in their 60s who are now ending up in Facebook prison. I mean, it used to be reserved for loud, obnoxious people like myself who run their mouth all day and trash the liberal left. I mean, I'm outrageous, as a lot of you guys know, when it comes to running my mouth. And I haven't been put in Facebook prison a single time. How? I have no idea. But today we're going to start by taking a look at a few cases over at YouTube, and these stories are hilarious. It's insane what people or what little they have to do today to be put in Facebook prison. So let's take a look. So first we're going to start off with Pastor. His name is Pastor Dowell. Okay. Pastor Dowell got thrown in prison or Facebook jail for quoting the Bible. He actually quoted the Bible. I mean, right now you can't even bring religion up on Facebook. That's how insane it is. You can't even discuss religion without triggering somebody or pissing off someone where they're going to report you and they're going to fact check you. I mean, how do you fact check Jesus Christ in the Bible is beyond me, but Facebook has found a way to do it, and they shut Pastor Dowell down. Let's have a listen.
All right. Good morning. My brothers and sisters, my peeps, my pals, my chums, my friends over here on YouTube, Pastor Dowell here. Yesterday, I got put in Facebook jail for 3 days over a statement that I made. And mind you, I wasn't just shooting at anybody. I didn't call out nobody. I just made a statement. And then I backed it up by, this country says that it's a country that in God we trust, right? That's what he say, right? So anyway, I made a statement on Facebook, and they put me in jail for 3 days. 3 days. No posting comments, no nothing. I'm like, wow. And when you look at all the rhetoric, you look at all the immorality, you look at all the junk, and they told me I violated community guidelines or policies or something like that, whatever it was, right? And so I went back, looked at what I said, and I go, now, how in the world is that violating any type of Facebook policies, community guidelines, or whatever it is? I think it's actually up to an individual who's ever monitoring that. But I'm going to tell you the statement I made. The statement I made was this: women are evil. And then I preface that by saying, show me one scripture. You know, America's supposed to be a Bible-based society, right? I said, show me one scripture in the entirety of the whole entire Bible that warns a woman against a man. Just one. Just one. Crickets. Then I said, now let's go over there and let's see what it says and how many warnings it gives a man about a woman. And of course, I realize that we are in a society that everything is literally turned upside down. We are literally in a feminist society. Now, when I said women are evil, I mean, you could call it painting a broad brush or whatever it is. And I did paint a broad brush. But I'm not exempting men. It's just that I made that statement. Just like when I make a video about men and telling them what they are. But that never gets banned, blocked, or in Facebook jail or anything. But anyway, so what I did was this morning, I printed out a few things, okay? And I'm going to read for those of you who want to endure this. Because, okay, let me give you an example. And I want y'all to test and prove everything that I'm saying, okay? Because the book teaches us that man should not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds forth out of the mouth of Yah. Let's see if Pastor Dow has the spirit of truth or not. Let's just see this, okay? Because we live in a world where the woman is doing her damnedest to replace the man as head of the family. Not only that, the Bible clearly tells you that the man is the one who is created in the image of God and the woman is created in the image of man. You don't believe me? Go read your book over there. And so there's no equality there. There's a pecking order. If you go read 1 Corinthians chapter 11, it gives you a chain of command and a pecking order. And why women today want to balk against that order and try to justify their wickedness is just beyond me. I mean, I know all the scriptures that says, a woman...
You guys get the point. I mean, the fact of the matter is, Pastor Dowell here was quoting the Bible. Now, whether you believe him or not is neither here or there. The fact of the matter is, and this is a pastor we're talking about, okay? We're talking about a wonderful man, Pastor Dowell, quoting the scriptures in the Bible. That's what he was doing. And he was simply talking about the fact that the Bible says that women were created from man. And he was talking about the fact that there is no equality in the Bible. Men were put first. That's the pecking order compared to women. Now, again, it doesn't matter if you agree with him or not. He's discussing religious beliefs. Well, somebody didn't like that. He gets thrown in prison. That's how disgusting this situation is today, that people want to talk about the Bible. They want to talk. I don't care what beliefs you find yourself following today. This equity stuff, this equality stuff. I mean, forget all that for a second. Let's just go back 2,000 years and discuss the Bible for a second. Can we not do that anymore? Can we not come out and discuss what happened thousands of years ago? Apparently not, because every time we try to do that, we get canceled. So now Facebook is canceled Pastor Dowell. And they're even going as far as to canceling the Bible, because when they silence him talking about the scriptures, they're also talking about silencing the Bible. So now let's take a look at a gentleman here who got canceled or shut down or thrown in Facebook jail for calling somebody a moron. I mean, that's how bad it's getting. I feel like we're in freaking kindergarten. What the hell's going on here? We're now being sent to the corner because we call somebody a moron? And he called them a moron because that person attacked him first. So let's see what happens.
Yesterday, I was doing what I sometimes like to do in my off time when I'm not busy looking up stuff online, and that's making fun of disgusting, dirty, low-down, filthy, nasty liberals. I'm on Facebook, and this dirtbag liberal is like, man, I wish gas was $2.50 over here. Man, I'm paying $4 a gallon, blah, blah, blah. And I replied to his comment and I said, you morons deserve to be paying $4 a gallon for gas because you keep voting for these stupid idiots in California that keep making more liberal laws and making your taxes go higher, making the cost of living go higher, blah, blah, blah. So I said, you morons deserve to pay $8. I said, you morons deserve to pay $8 a gallon. And Facebook blocked me for 7 days for leaving that comment.
So it's a very fair statement. I mean, gas is on the rise and people are complaining about gas prices going up. So this gentleman simply comments with, well, you're the morons who voted for the Democrats. You're the morons who voted for Biden. So stop complaining about $4 a gallon. Don't be surprised if you see it go up to $8 a gallon. Well, obviously the liberals didn't like that. They reported him. He gets thrown in Facebook jail. So this is the problem we see with Facebook today. And you notice how it only goes one way. It only ever goes one way. I have never heard of a single liberal friend getting thrown in Facebook jail. Not a single one. It's always my conservative friends who ever land in Facebook prison. Have you guys noticed that? Do you know anybody who has ran their mouth as a liberal and has been thrown in Facebook prison? Because I don't. It's all my conservative friends. And it's only ever after they argue with logic and really trigger the emotions of these people. I mean, listen, it's no surprise that the liberal left are a very triggered group of individuals. I mean, we've seen it back when Trump was elected president. I mean, we saw heads explode. We saw people rolling around in the streets as if they didn't take their meds for a few days and they were absolutely going mental. So we know they're a very triggered bunch to begin with. But I only ever see conservatives get thrown in Facebook prison. I never see my Democratic friends be put in Facebook jail. Why is that? It's because the moderators in Facebook have been told to look for conservatives, look for Trumpers. And if you see anything that speaks out against Biden or the Democrats or liberal ideology or far left radical movements, if you see anybody speak out against them, you shut them down. I mean, it's not even my opinion. It's straight up fact, which is why we only ever see conservatives or Trump supporters get put in Facebook prison. So what can you do to go to Facebook prison today? I mean, what are some things that actually put you in prison? Well, speaking the truth will land you in Facebook jail. Speaking too logically. You can't get too logical. If you get too logical, Facebook doesn't really like that. Too much truth-telling can land you in prison. It happens all the time to people. So how do you debate a liberal without actually going to prison? Well, again, you can't get emotional. That's for sure. You can't get emotional because you'll get reported for abuse. I mean, we get reported for speaking too logical, let alone emotional. But the key to stay out of Facebook jail when debating a liberal is you need to have a balance of logic and kind of giving into what they believe, essentially, to trick the algorithm. Okay, that's how out of control and outrageous this thing is. You need to almost trick the algorithm into masking yourself as a liberal. That's how you stay out of it, while trying to subtly get your point across. You have to literally walk on eggshells in order to not get thrown in Facebook prison. Another thing that's landing everybody in prison these days is talking about the vaccine. Oh, you speak out against the vaccine, you're going to Facebook prison. It's ridiculous. I actually, a few days ago, got thrown in YouTube jail for 1 week. I got a 1 week YouTube suspension, not because I spoke out against the vaccine. It's because I spoke about the fact that the United States have come out with guidelines that allows you to fire an employee if they don't take the vaccination or they don't get vaccinated. That's what I spoke out against. I spoke about the fact that I thought it was insane that an employer can actually fire you for not being vaccinated. That's all I said. I didn't talk about manufacturers. I didn't talk about actual companies. I didn't talk about what's in it that can harm you. I didn't talk about any of that stuff. All I spoke out against was the fact that I thought it was wrong that employers can now fire you if you do not get vaccinated, because there's national guidelines out now that actually allow that. So I thought, this is disgusting. This is ridiculous. Well, at the end of my show, I get a warning. YouTube puts me in prison for a week. It was ridiculous. So I know people who have also shared news about the vaccine. They've just simply shared information. And we're talking from mainstream media outlets like Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and dozens of others. They've shared links and have been put in Facebook prison. Rochester's very own Shannon Joy. Shannon Joy, I don't know if she's watching the show, and I hope she doesn't mind me telling her story, but Shannon Joy was just thrown in prison, Facebook jail for 3 days, because she shared a link talking about a case or a woman in Utah who died from the vaccination 4 days after. She simply shared it. That's all she did. She didn't trash talk it. She didn't spend an entire episode on it. That's all she did. Kristen, I see Kristen right now. Kristen Sloan says, that's me. Shared a news story and got in trouble. See, since when do we get busted for sharing news stories? I mean, how outrageous is it that we're actually getting in trouble now for sharing news stories on Facebook? I mean, this is insanity that people can now simply share some information and all of a sudden they get thrown in Facebook prison. That's ridiculous. And YouTube actually has on their guidelines now, YouTube actually has a section where it says you cannot go up against anybody or go up against manufacturers or go up against the vaccine itself. I mean, that is criminal. I'll bring up some of the comments here for you guys to see. We'll pull up comments. I know they're coming in, so I'm going to try to bear with me. This is a new thing we're doing on the show. I don't usually answer comments that come in, but I'm really excited to right now because I don't usually answer my own comments. Usually we're on Fox News and some other sites. So we'll pull all these comments up right now. I'd love to know what you guys think about this. Say it in a language they don't understand. That's good. I think a lot of people have actually started speaking code. You can start speaking code right now. Mary Ellen, little old ladies in their 60s. No, I'm not talking about you. There's other people that I know that have actually been thrown in Facebook prison. No, I'm not referring to you. Actually, I don't know how old you are at all. But there's other people that I'm referring to that, you know, these just really nice people that don't have a bad thing to say. And they messaged me the other day and she said, hey, I'm in Facebook prison. I love what you're doing. I can't comment. Sorry, but I just want to let you know. And I'm like, you're in Facebook prison? Like, what did you do? We're talking about the most innocent people in the world right now. Chris says, whatever happened to our right to freedom of speech in America? Seriously, like, what the hell? We can't say anything anymore. We can't share anything. We can't talk about our true feelings. Since when do we need to walk on eggshells and be worried that we're going to lose our voice for saying the wrong thing? This is absolutely absurd and insanity what's going on right now. It's out of control, and it's just happening so much more now. I get messages from people all the time, like every single day, that they're in Facebook jail and that they can't respond. And you know what's crazy? I just received a message from somebody. And guys, just so you know, I am reading comments, so go ahead and comment. Tell me your stories. If you've ever been in Facebook jail, we're doing something new today. We're keeping it light. We're keeping it fun. It's Friday after all. I mean, the second this show's done, I'm going to happy hour to have a beer with the guys, because after all, what else do you do in such beautiful weather? So, but comment. Let me see your comments. I want to hear about what's going on with you as far as if you've ever landed in Facebook prison before, and we'll talk about the insanity. But I received a message from somebody just before the show. She says, I actually, because she saw I post what I'm going to talk about every single day. And she sent me a message and said, Matt, I'm in Facebook jail for 7 days because I said something a year ago. A freaking year ago, she spoke out about something. Somebody reported her, and now she's in Facebook jail. So something for a year ago. It's ridiculous. So we all know our freedom of speech is in jeopardy. I mean, we know that, okay? Our liberties, our freedom of speech, it's all in jeopardy. And last night, as I was listening to Biden pretty much emphasize just how much our freedoms are in jeopardy, basically when he came out with things like, you know, I'm not sure if we'll be celebrating 4th of July this year, or I'll let you know if we're able to get together, or if people are able to get together. And I was thinking, Biden, bro, since when do you call the shots on whether I can get together with my family or how many people I want to gather with on 4th of July? And I was just kind of listening and thinking, is this honestly where we are as a country right now, where Facebook silenced us for our honest opinions and views? The president of the United States comes on and addresses the nation and says, you'll be lucky if you could celebrate 4th of July in large groups, or I'll let you know when it's safe. I mean, this has become normalized today. It's out of control right now, and we're almost letting it we're letting it get to the point where it's acceptable and it's okay. I mean, half the country is actually okay with this, and the other half is kind of walking around thinking, what the hell's going on right now? This is outrageous. So Facebook is throwing more people in prison every day. They're throwing people in prison for speaking the truth, for being a little bit too logical. Remember, the left don't like too much logic. So when you debate the left, try not to be too logical. Because see, what happens when you're too logical is you trigger them. Their head explodes. And the only thing they really know what to do in retaliation is hit that abuse button. That's why a lot of us go to Facebook prison, because we're just too damn logical. And logic really upsets them. I'll give you an example. It's kind of like, you know, when Biden won the election and we're all sitting here, you know, but why did you vote for Biden? Well, I just didn't like Trump. I know, but that's not really a valid reason. Why exactly did you vote for Biden? Like, what policies are you in favor of? What do you like about him? What didn't you like about Trump? And they just kind of stare at you and don't really know what to say because they don't have a real valid answer. And you're like, see, so you didn't really vote for Biden. You voted against Trump. And you can just see the steam start to come out of their ears and their heads start to swell before total explosion. They don't really know what to say. So they hit the abuse button because they can't take it. They feel like they've been backed into a corner. Well, no, I'm just having an honest debate here. So if you don't want to end up in Facebook prison, you can't argue with too much logic. It's going to kind of drive them insane. You need to kind of play them at their own emotional game. When they attack you with emotion, like, you maybe need to attack them back with a little bit of emotion. But the second you start to tread on logic, things get a little bit too out of hand. So it's absolute insanity. Everybody's going to Facebook prison, and they're going to prison for things that have to do with talking about the vaccine. They go to Facebook prison over things about sharing posts, not agreeing with people, for calling somebody a moron, for preaching religion. I mean, these are the types of things that everybody's going to Facebook jail for. Preaching religion. You can't even preach the Bible anymore without somebody being triggered and reporting you for abuse because maybe they don't share the same religious beliefs. Is this the message we really want to be teaching our children? Is this really the route that we want to go down? Because it's insane. It's insane that we are now have to watch what we say and we can't have a normal conversation anymore. Kate says, basically, he told us you might have your lives back when everyone is vaccinated, referring to Joe Biden. Yeah. Who the hell is Joe Biden to be able to tell us that we might have our lives back? I mean, since when does Joe Biden get to dictate any of this? Kate also says, this is an understatement. He's a complete embarrassment. He is. Sonia says, that man is nuts and losing it. He's absolutely nuts. He's absolutely nuts. And listen, speaking of Biden for a second, before Biden actually went, I'm going to show you guys something. Before Biden actually went on air last night, okay, I spoke out about, I'll show you what I spoke out about. I brought up a post. Okay, bear with me again. This is the first time I'm really doing live comments on the show, so bear with me, guys. I'll do my best here to not totally screw this up. But last night I posted something, and I said, as the nation gets ready, okay, I knew exactly what Biden was going to say. I could have read it word for word. I mean, I could have written the script for Biden. I knew exactly what he's going to try to say. So I said, as the nation gets ready to listen to Biden's pre-recorded speech tonight, I knew it was going to be pre-recorded. And no, they haven't actually admitted it, but let's be honest. I mean, Biden can barely string a sentence together. He's got Kamala Harris now having conversations with world leaders. So why would they take that risk? We know it was recorded. So as the nation gets ready to listen to Biden's pre-recorded speech tonight, I want you to keep the following points in mind, because I knew he was going to come out and speak a whole bunch of BS and get the whole Democrats all wound up and rah-rah motivated up for complete lies, really, total lies. So I was like, hold on a second. Before he goes and spews a whole ton of lies, let me just preempt the fact that this is the real deal here. So as the nation gets ready to listen to Biden's pre-recorded speech tonight, I want you to keep the following points in mind. You don't need Biden's permission to gather in large groups. He will try and tell you to keep it limited. Don't even pretend like you care, because you have all been out at the bars and restaurants for months now, and you go shopping every few days, so stop it. That was my first, because I don't even want to hear the naysayers and the complainers and the basement trolls speak out against the fact that don't worry about what Biden says as far as limited groups are concerned, okay? And don't even try to act like we're all enemies of the state here by going out and having a drink, because I know the left have been doing it too. They've been shopping at the very least, okay? If you can go through Walmart and be around hundreds of people or thousands of people that have walked in and out of that store that day, then don't try to tell me I need to stay home or that I'm a monster because I want to go have a drink at the bar. So I know Biden's still trying to play the whole let's keep gatherings limited. But my point is, seriously, you guys have all been going out for months now. You've been at the bars, you've been at the restaurants. Teachers are going on vacation, even though they don't want to get back into school. So let's cut the BS right now. Everybody's been out, and I'm sick of the left trying to act like we're still in the middle of a major emergency, a major pandemic here, because we're not. If we were, people around me, left, right, and center would be dying. I barely know a single person who has actually died from coronavirus. So that was my first issue. I said, you don't need Biden's permission to gather. And sure enough, he came out, and one of the first things he said was, we're going to limit 4th of July gatherings. Actually, Biden, I'm not going to do any, I don't have to listen to you, and I'm going to do whatever the hell I want. So that was the first thing he said. I also said, you don't need Biden's permission to take the damn mask off. He will try to tell you how effective it is. There is zero proof, and I mean zero. Just take the mask off if you want. I mean, this mask is so insane. There is no proof of the mask actually working. Show me proof. I'd like to see anybody try to prove to me that the mask actually works. And you know why nobody will be able to prove it? Because we've never even tried to walk around amongst coronavirus without the damn mask on our face. So nobody can prove to me that masks actually work. So take the mask off. It doesn't work. I believe right here in New York State, Cuomo's lifting the mask mandate, or it expires in a couple days anyway. So listen, if your liberal friends give you hell about it, just tell them you're not going to melt. All right, take the mask off. When Biden tries to convince you that they are doing everything they can to get the kids back to school, I can assure you he's not. That he's not. He will lie to you because he owes the unions for their votes. I mean, let's be honest. He does. He owes the unions for his votes. Hence the reason why we've seen Biden change his tune 5 million times as far as the education situation is concerned. Remember, he wanted everybody back to school a month ago, and then all of a sudden he comes out and does a complete 180. If you guys remember, he did an address to the nation. I was going to say press briefing, but he hasn't done one of those yet. It's been 50 days, by the way. He still has 51 days. He still has not done a press briefing. He has still not addressed the people where he's allowed reporters to ask questions. So still hasn't. So he did this address about education a month ago, which was a total 180 of what he originally said. If you guys remember, he said, we're going to try to get the kids back into school at least one day a week, one full day. And I'm sitting here thinking, Biden, bro, are you insane? The kids are already back 3 to 4 days a week, hybrid model, but they're back. You just downgraded the situation. Like, do you have any idea you actually went from kids being in school pretty much all week, albeit hybrid, to now I want to see them back into school, or I want to see them back to school 1 day a week. And I'm like, Biden, dude, I know you have no idea what you're talking about, but why the 180? Why the change of course here? Well, it's because the unions have Biden in his back pocket, and we know that. I mean, it's not even debatable. So they have done absolutely nothing, and we all know it. He didn't really touch on that in the address last night. He just sat there and spewed COVID BS the entire time. He'll try and tell you that everything is under control down at the border. It's not. It's not. Unless you've been living under a rock. The border is so out of control right now. Governors, Texas state governor, other state governors, at least the red state governors, are now sending military down to the border. It's so out of control. It's fact that nearly 5,000 illegal immigrants per day are crossing the border. 5,000 illegal border crossings per day. That is 5 times the amount of illegal border crossings than any other president has faced. Obama actually said, when he was president, Obama said, when there were 1,000 illegal border crossings per day back in the Obama era, he called that a crisis. He actually called that a crisis. So I'm sitting here thinking, okay, now there's 5,000. What the hell do we call that? Because if 1,000 people, 1,000 illegal border crossings was a crisis, well, this is a catastrophic, monumental failure on the Biden administration with what they're doing down at the border. So right now we have an issue, 5 times the amount of illegal border crossings than any other president has faced. The only ones in control down there, Biden tries to make it like everything's under control down at the border. No, Biden, the only thing that's under control right now, or the only people or group that are in control, are the drug cartels and the child traffickers. So before Biden went on last night, I said, listen, just assume everything that comes out of his mouth tonight is a lie. Just assume everything's a lie. As a matter of fact, don't even bother watching it. I'll just end up trashing the whole thing for you in tomorrow's video, which we're doing right now. So that's the deal. And we continue to hear everything but truth come out of that administration's mouth. And yesterday it was just one big lie fest. And we saw it. So that's the deal with Biden. It was an absolute joke. More lies brought to you by the Biden administration. All he did was talk about COVID the entire time. COVID this, COVID that. And then he said, and you might be able to hang out with your friends and family for the 4th of July. How about I might not give a shit what you have to say about anything? Because I'll hang out with whoever I want, whenever I want. As a matter of fact, I told my wife this morning, out of spite, I said, hun, I want to throw a freaking rager this 4th of July. And I'm going to invite you all. I want everybody to come, stop in, masks off, hang out. I mean, we are going to have a party this 4th of July. I can care less what the mandates are, unless those are concrete laws, which I still may violate because constitutionally that is the law I follow, and I will continue to follow that. I don't care. I really don't. Let's head over to the Keyboard Warrior Cam and see what you guys have to say. Kate, thank you for being so vocal today. At least somebody's got a lot to say. Kate says, I have people give me crap about going in stores without a mask all the time. I say your mask works, right? Then who cares if I have one on or not? Same with the vaccine. It protects you in your mind, then get it. No need to worry about me being vaccinated if your vaccine is working, right? It's a great point. Why do we care? Why does everybody care if we wear a mask or not? I mean, come on. Listen, for the last year, I wore a mask to protect you, okay? I did. I put it on. I dealt with it. A year later now, people, we are here a year later. Masks have not worked. Lockdowns have not worked. And statistically, Florida is far better off being wide open. Texas is better off being wide open, unmasked, than New York and California. So why don't people look at this research? Why don't they actually go online and do the research themselves? I mean, come on. It's not like I have access to the CDC information that the left don't have access to. It's almost like Republicans and conservatives go to their secret source of real information that the left don't have access to. I mean, that's what they are acting like right now. Like they don't have access to the same information I have access to, because the CDC is right there for you all to go online and research. All you have to do is look at the numbers. How many deaths in Florida? How many deaths in New York? Compare the numbers. Okay, it doesn't take a rocket science to know that the lockdowns don't work when New York State has double the amount of COVID fatalities, completely locked down and masked up. So Kate's right. Who cares? Don't worry about me anymore. If I don't want to wear a mask, that's my own business. If I don't want to get the vaccine, that's my own business. And we should be able to speak freely about this on Facebook. Who knows? This show might get shut down if it has. I'm watching the live today right here to make sure Facebook doesn't cancel me midstream, because they've done that before. YouTube's done that before for speaking my mind, for speaking my opinion. And if you guys haven't noticed, which I'm sure most of you had, because most of my viewers are very smart, switched on people. I love you guys, by the way, and thank you so much for tuning in and for supporting the show. It means the world to me. You guys are great, and I love spending every day with you. But you guys would have noticed that things are getting so much more strict. Things are getting so much more less free here in America. And it's starting at a national level, and it's now trickling all the way down to Facebook. And it continues to really tread on our constitutional rights. And I can't believe a lot of the people who are now, never in a million years would I have imagined being put in Facebook jail, are not being put in Facebook jail. So today's show is all about how to debate a liberal without going to prison, because let's be honest, the liberals tend to get a little bit more triggered. Nothing against you guys. I love you too, but you are a triggered bunch. And you gotta stop reporting us for abuse every time we argue with logic that you just can't compete with. Okay? It's okay if you lose an argument. It's okay if you feel a little stupid because maybe you didn't go and do your own research and you decided to regurgitate the bullshit that comes out of CNN on a daily basis. It's okay. We've all been there. We've all felt duped. Take it on the chin. But stop reporting everybody. Okay? You're not doing America any favors. You're not doing the Constitution its justice. You're only fueling Zuckerberg and the rest of the Facebook police into believing or thinking that it's okay and giving them the right to continue to shut us down. Because it's not. It's not. It's a complete violation of our constitutional rights. Speaking of jail, what is going on with Andrew Cuomo? Like, what is the deal? I mean, have we not had enough reasons for this guy to go? I mean, this morning, if you haven't noticed, this afternoon, for those of you who do kind of pay attention to his daily briefings, and trust me, I don't listen to that crap. He drives me freaking nuts. I never, but I always tune in just for a second or two, just to hear what load of garbage is going to come out of his mouth today. And I noticed today, in case you guys haven't missed this, Governor Andrew Cuomo didn't go on camera. He did an audio-only briefing. So speaking of prison, speaking of being put in, let's talk about real prison for a second, okay? Because Andrew Cuomo, if he doesn't kind of make the right moves and maybe decide once and for all to step down, he may be just facing prison. The best thing that this guy could do right now is resign. But he refuses to go. I mean, there's like, how many women now have come out against this guy? I mean, everybody wants him gone. The Republican Party have filed articles of impeachment, understandably. I mean, of course they would. But now Democratic lawmakers want him gone. And it's now even to the point where the New York State Assembly want him gone. I mean, Cuomo, bro, everybody wants you gone. Like, it's time to leave. Beat it, buddy. But Andrew Cuomo on Friday refused to resign amid mounting pressures from fellow Democrats for him to step down over sexual misconduct accusations leveled against him, with Cuomo lashing out. This is his thing. He just keeps lashing out at everybody. I'm so glad that Democrat Kim stood up to Cuomo a month ago. I'm so glad he decided to do it. And Cuomo threatened him because Cuomo has been bullying Democratic lawmakers and his own Democratic colleagues for too long now. And finally, they're standing up to him. And I really have to applaud Kim for coming out against Cuomo because he started this whole trend. He broke the mob bullying theme that was allowed for so many years. And now everybody's coming out against him. And I've been speaking out against Cuomo forever. Now, I'm not that big of a voice, so I don't think Cuomo really cares what I have to say about him. But I have been doing everything I could to say, guys, listen, keep bringing up the fact that he needs to go. Let's get this guy out of here. And I saw it start to snowball. Fortunately, Fox News, other right-wing media finally jumped on, and collectively, everybody felt a lot more confident now going up against Andrew Cuomo. But even after the women have come forward, even after the coronavirus scandal where he got busted for underreporting by thousands, by nearly 50%, even after articles of impeachment have been filed, even after Democratic lawmakers want him out, and now the New York State Assembly wants him out, this guy refuses to leave. It's like, what the hell? Like, what do we have to do to get you out of power here? No one's going to reelect you, bar a few idiots down in New York City for whatever God knows reason keeps voting you in. But his day's over. His day is absolutely over. I'm going to switch over back to what you guys think. What do you guys think about Cuomo? I mean, do you think he's going to resign? Are they going to have to drag him out by his 2 feet, kicking and screaming? What do you think's going to happen over the next few days? Let's head back to the Keyboard Warrior cam and we'll see. Okay, Tony says, I've never been in Facebook jail. I'm not sure how I've gotten past the censors and fact checkers. Tony, I hear you. Guys, you know, for those of you who follow me on my personal feed, I run my mouth all day, every day. I'm like probably the most obnoxious person to ever. I mean, there's some pretty obnoxious people out there, but I got to be up there. I mean, the liberals hate me. I don't think I have a single liberal friend on my Facebook page anymore. I come out and speak against the hypocrisy and the lies every single day. And I have some pretty harsh things to say. And I've still never landed in Facebook jail. So I don't know how I've gotten out of it. I really don't. Tony, I know you've been very patriotic. You've shown your support for President Trump, and that has gotten a lot of us in jail as well. I'm trying to load all the comments here. I only see a few. I think that's because they're showing me the most relevant. Guys, I'm only just trying to figure out comments today. Tony says, that's why we love you. Keep running your mouth and be a voice for so many. That's exactly what I'm going to continue to do. I will continue to be a voice. You know, after I watched Biden's, or after I kind of dissected Biden's speech last night, I'm going to show you something, guys. This really, I felt the need to write this morning. A lot of people have been very worried about the vaccine. Biden said something last night that had to do along the lines of, as soon as we have a little bit more information, I'm going to tell you what you're allowed to do and what you're not. You know, for those of you who get the vaccine, I'll tell you what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. And I'm thinking, wait, what the hell? Since when do you, what are we doing here? We're now grouping Americans into a vaccine versus not a vaccine. And people are getting very worried here because even myself, I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think we've done enough, you know, testing on the vaccine. And I'm trying to pull up what I had to say yesterday, if I can ever figure out how to do this. We are testing some new feeds today. I'm trying to figure all of this out right now, and it's driving me crazy, guys. So bear with me. But I did speak this morning about the fact that, listen, don't worry about this whole vaccine nonsense, okay? Because red state governors are suing the hell out of Biden. Every day they file more and more lawsuits. It's inhumane to suppress us for not getting the vaccine. And I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I've gotten all my vaccines. My son's got all of his vaccines. I've never had a problem with vaccines. I just feel like this one's been a little bit too rushed. So I don't really want it right now. And I have nothing against anybody else who does want it. That's fine. If you guys want it, get it. If you don't, you don't. I mean, who cares? But it's almost like Biden's speech last night was nothing more than an infomercial for the vaccination. Have you guys, like, did you realize that? Did you get a sense of that? That it was almost like an infomercial for the vaccine last night? Because that's kind of what I feel like. I feel like this thing's being pushed on us harder than any vaccination's been pushed before. Like, why did Biden feel the need to discuss or try and sell the vaccination so hard? Why do we keep seeing political figures show off their dose or their vaccination? I mean, why do they care so much? It's almost like the more that they promote it, the more that people are actually going to resist it. Maybe if they just backed off and stopped ramming it down our throat, we might not feel like there's a hidden agenda here. We might actually not be as afraid to get it. And personally, I'd like to wait a couple of years. I'd like to just see how the rest of the country does, who does get it. I mean, sorry, guys, if you want to be a guinea pig, that's fine. And I have nothing against that. But I don't want my son getting it. I don't want to get it. And no one should care if I want it or not. Since when does anybody give a shit whether we get vaccinated? I've never had any of my friends come up to me and say, hey, by the way, did you get tetanus? Oh, you didn't? Ooh, dude, don't come anywhere near me. Or an airline saying, hey, can I see your little travel pass? What for? Well, I want to make sure you got your vaccines. Nobody's ever cared in the past. And there's a lot of people out there who aren't vaccinated because of medical reasons. And if I didn't get the polio vaccination, and you know, and you have a family member who couldn't get the vaccination because of a disability or a medical illness that didn't allow them to get the polio vaccination, well, then potentially I could harm them, I guess. But nobody's ever cared in the past. Nobody's ever brought that up. An airline's never asked me, can I make sure you've got your polio vaccinations? So what is the big deal? Why does everybody have such a hard-on right now for this vaccination? And the reason I'm talking about it so much right now is because that's what Biden spoke about for so long last night before he then went on to tell us that we might be able to celebrate the 4th of July. Well, guys, I have news for you. We're having the biggest freaking party of the century next year. You're all invited. I want everybody to come. And I think we are going to have the time of our lives. It's going to be the biggest party of the century. I don't care what Biden has to say about anything. Kate says, have you noticed that Biden lovers really don't love Biden? They really don't even have any positive things to say about him. They are just anti-Trump. They only talk about how Trump is bad. Ask them how Biden is good. You'll hear crickets. Absolutely. That's all we ever hear is crickets. So last night's speech was an absolute disaster. It was nothing but more lies and fear-mongering dictated by the left. I could have written the speech for you. But today's show is all about not being able to speak your mind. And it's very scary and it's very dangerous, the direction that we're headed. We're losing our freedom. Every single day, we're losing more of it. And I think all of us have to stick up to the fact and just kind of tell this administration, we're done listening. Fauci, we're done. We're done. Mask up, hide in your basement, get the vaccination. I don't care what any of you do anymore. Leave me alone. Leave my friends alone. Leave my family alone. I want to walk through Walmart without my mask. Leave it alone. Don't come near me. I don't care. Because we all know that people are still going to get coronavirus. It's a freaking virus at the end of the day. You can hide all you want. It's going to get you. At some point, it's going to find you if it already hasn't. And you're going to get sick. And I hope that's all that happens. Sadly, people will die just like they do of the flu every single year. So our freedom of speech continues to be in jeopardy. More and more of my friends every single day end up landing in Facebook jail. Everyone from radio show hosts to little old sweet ladies who have never had a bad thing to say about anybody. Clearly, you're not allowed to voice your opinion unless it abides by the Democrats' narrative. That's the only time you're ever going to be safe with Mark Zuckerberg and the Facebook Nazis is if you don't speak out against the far-left radical agenda. So as long as you don't do that and say whatever they want you to say, you should be absolutely fine. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here today at You Made It Political. We stream every day at 3 p.m. to both Facebook and YouTube. We also go live on Amazon Music, Spotify, iTunes, and TuneIn. You have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening to You Made It Political with Matt Clark. Be sure to like, follow, or subscribe to the show, or leave us a review on iTunes. And if you like our show or want to know more, check out YouMadeItPolitical.com.